The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. And then one of the quotes from the book, Naval says, "The more desire I have for something to work out a certain way, the less likely I am to see the truth, especially in business. If something isn't going well, I try to acknowledge it publicly, and I try to acknowledge it publicly in front of my co-founders and friends and coworkers. Then I'm not hiding it from anybody else. I'm not hiding it from anybody, and I'm not going to delude myself from what's actually going on." So there's two reasons I pulled that quote from the book. Number one is obviously it ties into this principle that he has from Richard Feynman. The first principle is you must not fool yourself, and you're the easiest person to fool. So this is an example of Naval, like, hey, this is what I do to make sure that I don't fool myself. I go around telling my coworkers, my friends, my co-founders that if something's not going well in business, I'm going to tell them, because if I tell them, that's going to make sure that I don't delude myself. I think that's an interesting way to go about following this principle of not fooling yourself. Now, the second thing that I thought of when I read this was going back to that holistic selfishness, right? Going back to that idea of like, hey, if I do things selfishly, but I'm looking long term, that's going to be best for me. What he's doing here, he is doing the right thing. He's saying, hey, when things are not going well in business, I make sure that I publicly acknowledge it in front of my co-founders, my friends, and my co-workers. That is the honest thing to do. That is something that you want to do and you want to communicate. But he's not saying that he does that because it's the right thing to do for them. He actually says that he's doing that so that I don't delude myself from what's actually going on. So I thought that was just a really interesting example of him using that idea of kind of like aligning his selfish intentions with what's best for everybody else.